Hi, good evening. This is the Thursday, September 8th, 2022 meeting of the Lunenburg Open Space Ad Hoc Committee. In accordance with the requirements of public open meeting law, this is being recorded and broadcast live over Lunenburg Public Access Channel and on Facebook Live. And in 24 hours, you can find the recording of this meeting on Lunenburg Access YouTube channel. There are a couple ways to join us in this meeting. One is via Zoom. If you go to Zoom and enter meeting ID 7927370353, you'll be able to get into the meeting. You don't need any PIN or anything for that. If you have not registered for Zoom and you want to call in, you can call in on 888-475-4499, and then also enter the webinar ID 7927370353. If you're on the phone and you want to speak, I'm Mike Toohill, I'm the chair, I'll recognize you. And please dial *9 to request to speak, and then the raise hand feature, and you will be recognized to speak. If you're on Facebook, you can just raise hand at the appropriate time, and we will recognize you. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. We have a quorum. We have under committee item number 3 on the agenda. I'm going to introduce a new member, Matthew Allison. Matt's with us tonight. Thank you for joining us. The first thing we're going to do is go through and review and approve the minutes from our August 11th, 2022 meeting. I did distribute them to you. Matthew, I don't know that I distributed it to you. I think I did when I sent out the invite for this webinar.
I believe you did.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments about the minutes that were put together for us?
No, it was good.
Okay.
So I can make a motion for approve the minutes. All right,
8/11.
8/11. Okay, I make a motion to approve the minutes of August 11th.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Matthew. Let's do a roll call vote since we're on Zoom. Anna?
Aye.
Matthew?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Well, Mary, okay. Eric, you're muted.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And I'm Mike Toohill, the chair. I also vote aye. So the minutes have been reviewed and approved. We'll get those over to the town clerk. The second point of business. Oh, could I ask someone to take minutes for tonight's meeting?
I can probably do them afterwards if you're recording.
Yes, it's going to be very quick tonight because we have a few agenda items, but several carryovers.
Yep.
And we don't have Brandon here tonight, who usually brings up several new items. So Brandon is on his way back from New York, I think, on the train, so he's not able to join us.
I'll do them.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
As I mentioned at the outset, we have a new representative from the planning board, Matthew Allison. Thank you for joining us. For our purposes and for the community's purposes, last time we kind of went around and did a brief intro to everybody. So if you could just take a couple minutes and tell us about yourself and your interest in Lunenburg open space.
Sure. So I've been a member of planning board since 2012. I think so. That's what, 10 years. And I've looked forward to being part of open space for quite a while. I think at first off, I want to commend you on the fabulous job that was done by this group on the open space plan most recently. I think Paula Bertram was a member then, and not sure who else was there, but kudos to that. That was a fabulous document. I grew up in town. We grew up farming, sustainable farm. I really love the town. I moved back. I moved to Boston, got my degree, did some work in civil engineering, decided corporate wasn't good for me. I didn't like it and got blue collar. Started 2012. I started a new job in the beginning of the year in February, and then in the later part of the year, I started to apply to the planning board. Open space is a very important and an integral part to the agricultural and the farming community that we all know and love as Lunenburg. I'm anxious to have a part in preserving and educating the people on the importance of preservation of open space, forest and wetlands and the land in general. I'm a fully appointed member to Agricultural Commission, and I've chaired that group for about 4 years now. So I'm definitely involved in town, and again, I'm anxious to add whatever I can to this group. There's some outstanding members here, and I look forward to productive.
Great, thank you very much. And I'm gonna give the kudos that you gave to this committee back to several of the members that were on the committee at the time. Brandon Kibbe is still on the committee. He and Paula Bertram and Bob Pease did a lot of the heavy lifting. Anna, I don't know whether you were on when the new, I wasn't, I came on right after it, so I'm not going to take any credit. And I know
Yeah,
Eric
no,
came
it was-
after me and Mary came after me.
Yeah, it was Karen Menard for parts at that time.
Okay. Yeah, so there's some folks that are still very active in town government, including on this committee that did a lot of the heavy lifting on that. Which brings me to the next item. We do have an open seat now, Sarah Kammer, who I think was actually on when they put together the open space plan. Sarah has resigned from the committee. She's got her hands full with a lot of other stuff, so she's taken the time out. So we do have an open space. I did reach out to Paula Bertram because it was mentioned to me that Paula might be interested in rejoining because she was an active member on this committee from the planning board, actually, for a number of years. And Paula's declined. She's got enough going on in her life as well. So I'll open this up to the rest of the committee. If there are folks that you think might be interested, please let me know. When Marjorie gets back next week, one thing I will do is we have a talent bank database in Lunenburg, so I will ask her to tap into the talent bank and see if we have any potential candidates from there. But if you folks know of someone, a neighbor, or someone on one of your other committees that might be interested, we'd certainly welcome additional help on this committee. So
Question
that's
on
it.
that. If another member of the Parks Commission want to join us, the at-large, is there a restriction against that?
Not that I'm aware of, because every seat, like your seat and Matthew's seat, Mary's seat, are dedicated towards specific other boards and committees.
Right.
Eric and I and Brandon are all at large, and so we do have an at large open. So that's why I say if there's somebody else on one of your committees that's interested, we could certainly bring them on.
That's great. All right.
Okay.
I'll add to that, Anna, excuse me, I'm sorry. Anna, you're allowed to have one elected position, and I don't believe there's any limit on the appointed positions. So I believe that this group, it would be an appointment.
Right.
It's an appointment by the planning board. Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So we're just,
Thank you.
we're looking for that member, and then we have to recommend that to the planning board, who then makes the appointment to this committee. That's correct.
Thank you.
All right. The next item is my item, the Stump Cove, which is 0 Lake Shirley Reservoir Road, excuse me, parcel, which is off Reservoir Road. I don't have any additional updates to that. We did discuss this at our last meeting. We approved a budget for a title examiner. I sent that vote approval over to the town manager, and she is working with town council. Town council has a title examiner in the registry office that will do the work for us. but I don't have an update as to where the contract or where the title examination stands. So we're just going to have to table that till next week. I don't know, Eric, excuse me, Matthew, if you want any additional information on what we're doing here, we can certainly talk about it for a minute.
I appreciate that. Paula was giving us good updates. I don't know, did Tanner Cole ever, or was he a member here? I mean, I know he was a member, but did he come to the meeting?
He did. Tanner came to the last meeting.
Okay, very good, good. So no, I'll basically just follow up on the minutes. And we can move forward from there.
Okay. It's a town-owned parcel. The title is not completely clear. That's why we want to have a title examiner run through it. It's listed on all of the assessors' information as being a town-owned parcel, but we have to backdate that through the title of the property. It's an interesting parcel because it's on Stump Cove, right by Reservoir Road, an area where residents currently park right on the road and put their kayaks in to get into Lake Shirley. So we're trying to see if we can't make a safer access point for the residents on at that area on Reservoir Road. So a small off-road parking area, kayaks and canoes only. We're not talking about, you know, a boat launch or anything like that. Just something where people who are currently using the site can get in there safely. So the next section 5 is any comments from the committee. Mary, this is where you can jump in. You have some additional information from the Conservation Commission and from Bob.
I do. So at the last meeting, it was raised a question about, so the Lunenburg Conservation Commission is the beneficiary of the estate of Mr. Sean Kelly, who previously resided at 77 Peninsula Drive. And in the terms of this estate, if you will, Lunenburg Conservation Commission would be the beneficiary of the net proceeds. So the land itself is not being conveyed to Conservation Commission, but the proceeds of the estate. Bob Pease was kind of guesstimating that it sort of kind of might be in the neighborhood of $1 million. Because I guess the house that is on this property is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It has I think he said, a detached garage. And looking at the real estate comps, he said a similar house that actually didn't have the garage had just sold on Hickory Hills for like $995,000. And in addition, I think Bob said there was about $250,000 in liquid assets, and then a car that also was an asset that would be liquidated. And Bob is not really anticipating that there would be any of these proceeds probably for another, 9 to 12 months available. But something to think about in terms of planning and whatnot.
Okay.
May, through the chair.
Go ahead, Matthew.
Thank you. So the proceeds from the estate, is that how you phrased that, Mary?
That is correct. So not the land itself, the assets are not being conveyed, it's the proceeds of the estate.
So it's required to be sold, but the
Yes,
Conservation Commission gets the money?
that's correct. And that's what the attorney has informed Bob.
Okay, thank you.
So the land could be sold to an individual or to a developer, and then that purchase price would then become deeded over, or how you put it, to the Conservation Commission. Is that right, Mary?
Yes, that's what we understand from the estate attorney.
Interesting. Okay.
And it can probably be used for projects in conservation property as well, right?
That's correct, yes.
That's
Very nice.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's a huge windfall for the town. That is for certain. And definitely a huge windfall for the Conservation Commission.
Yeah. And these are unrestricted funds, so that's wonderful.
So it goes to Conservation Commission and not general fund? Is that how it
It
becomes?
goes,
dedicated?
yeah, it is explicitly stated in the will that it goes to the Lunenburg Conservation Commission.
Very nice. Okay, great. Any of the other committee members have any additional comments or issues that they'd like to raise at this time?
I can give a quick update on Parks Commission. We had a fairly productive meeting last month, and we're trying to get ourselves organized and looking on long-term plans. And we are talking about the Northfield property, and I actually met with Brandon offline, and he went through that. The survey was already done, and that was something that the Open Space Committee worked on a few years back. That's how the Parks Commission has a property of about 50 plus acres, Northfield. So we are putting that in a 10-year plan on how to develop that property. Also something we feel like we also need to do some work in McNally. So overall, the commission is very excited about, being able to plan and have an outlook into these properties and how to maintain it and have more use, more importantly. So that's how we have it on parks.
Great. Anybody else?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. So is Mary on conservation?
Yes.
Okay,
I am, yes.
and Anna's on parks. So, so I'll give you a planning board update, I guess, is that we're looking at a project coming in where Bright Farms had previously permitted behind Walmart. I don't know if anybody's heard about that yet. Agricultural Commission has been, well, Lunenburg Business Association was the first people to have a meeting with a representative of, it's Lufa Farms from Montreal. They're proposing an 8-acre greenhouse, so it's about half the build out on the same parcel. And the interesting thing is that parcel abuts a conservation piece that's landlocked, I believe, and also abuts the Saliba acquisition, which I don't know if the whole thing has gone to Parks, or at least the part that's south of Northfield is Parks Commission.
Yeah, so on that side, it's the Parks Commission owns the land that has access to Northfield Road.
Right.
And that is a connection that goes to the other side that's conservation, which
Yes.
is another 50 acres. And I believe that second conservation piece is the one that actually connects to the other, to the property you're talking about.
Yeah, so the previous application, Bright Farms, they had offered to give us a square that connected the two pieces off of that parcel, and it actually shows on the GIS currently, but it hasn't been conveyed, so the GIS is incorrect as far as that. But there does exist, this will be an agricultural venture on 45 acres, and the potential exists that could protect that land through APR or through chapter. But however it comes, it connects existing conservation and existing parks with access to Northfield through residential, but it would be primarily accessed through commercial, through driveway that connects, well, goes up to Hannaford. Anyways, that's going to be coming up shortly. We expect in the next few months that they will be applying to planning. There's no formal application, but and there has been a representative expressed interest. So I want to make everybody aware of that if they may not have known.
That's very interesting. I have a question though, if I don't want to interrupt you though, Matthew.
No.
Is might there be an opportunity with this new farm to approach the topic of that little cutout that joins the well, what's like the Reno property to the Northfield Road Parks and Rec area.
I think that's the one I referenced that they had agreed to.
Yeah, it shows on the map, but it's not
Right.
actually conveyed. Yeah.
That's definitely an option. It's not, again, they haven't even made the formal application yet.
Mhm.
And they're gonna have to revise the previous permit. I think their goal is going to be asking planning board for a revision to the previous permit. Rather than
Mhm.
go through the whole permitting process again.
Mhm.
And I think that more than likely they would be willing to offer the same terms as Bright Farms had on that.
Oh, that would be cool.
So just,
That, not only that parcel entirely could be, could become agricultural, could become conservation, agricultural property, basically. Which
Mhm.
would perfectly connect with conservation and open space and parks and recreation. Where does recreation fall anyways? We have open space, it's just open space. And then Parks Commission. Is there a recreation commission at all, anywhere in anybody's? I don't think there is.
No, it's, there's the Parks Commission that oversees within our charter, it has mentioning of recreation and programming.
Okay,
So in Lunenburg, we have a recreational director, Parks and
That's-
Recreation.
there you go.
So
And
that's more
there
of a
was-
department.
Are they under Parks Commission or are they under DPW?
DPW, which they are now under the facilities director, who was just hired a couple weeks ago. But the facilities director is under DPW. Yes,
Very good. I really wish we all worked together more.
we're getting there. I have faith.
Yeah,
as a point of interest, Matthew, can I ask you a question about the permitting? The original permit was issued to one entity and you have a new party coming in asking to amend a permit that was issued to a different entity?
well, and there's a third moving part, is there the landowner, third individual. So yeah, the idea that's been expressed is that Bright Farms, Bright Farms was very happy with us. They gave us $10,000.
Yeah, which went to open space.
Did it? I
It
thought
went to it was dedicated to the open space committee. Yes,
awesome.
yes.
So yeah, I mean, they were very pleased with us. We permitted that project in like 3-4 months, maybe.
Mhm.
And a huge project. So I believe there would be a strong interest in selling or maybe even giving the current permit from Bright Farms to the new applicant. And then it's just the land deal between the landowner and the new applicant.
Okay.
So not just the permit. The permit's owned by somebody that doesn't own the land. But and the land is owned by somebody that doesn't have the permit. And now we've got this third party coming in, so.
Okay.
It's moving parts, but it's feasible, I believe.
Okay. I do permitting for a living, so I wanted to ask that question. Does anybody else on the committee have anything they'd like to bring up?
No.
No, that leaves you and me, Eric, so I have nothing else. All right, we'll open it up for public comment. I know Dave Passios is with us. Dave, do you have something that you'd like to raise?
Nope, nothing this evening, guys. Just listening in. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you were the only other person there, so I wanted to recognize you. Any other members of the public on the phone? I haven't seen a hand come up and I don't see anybody on the Zoom. Okay, hearing and seeing none. The next issue is the next meeting schedule. Right now, we are scheduled for our October meeting on October 20th. We'd like to try to schedule 2 meetings in advance, so I'd like to talk about the November date with everyone. I cannot make, we've been doing Thursday nights. I can't make the first and second Thursday myself. I don't know how others feel about pushing it back, but That would push it back to November 17th.
I am not able to make this, actually, the 17th. Am I not able to make the 17th? Oh, no, I can make the 17th.
Okay,
That would work for me.
I have an issue. The
Okay.
Ag Commission meets on the third Thursday.
so we need to try to stay away from third Thursdays.
Well, either that or, you know, we start at 7. So our meetings are typically longer than that, and we actually meet at the Ritter in person.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Have you guys discussed in-person meetings?
We have, and I think, I speak for myself, I think we've opted to stay remote for the time being since the governor is allowing that.
Yep. Okay, but yeah, I have a problem with the third Thursday. I have a conflict. At 7 o'clock.
Okay. So there's another question that I want to raise with this committee. We don't need to discuss this tonight, but we've had fairly light agenda for the past few meetings. Maybe it's the summer, maybe it's just because we worked through several of the bigger issues with tax liens and things earlier on in the year. I was wondering what this committee would think about moving our meeting to either every other month or quarterly as opposed to every month. Just for a discussion.
So
I
do you
think
wanna
every
have
other month would, sorry, Anna,
No,
go ahead.
No, Mary, go ahead.
I think every other month would be what I would just think, and then we could consider once a quarter if that is still leaving us lightweight, would be the way I would recommend.
Yeah, I was gonna add that, you know, we can plan it not every month, and if there is a subject that we need more attention, we can then schedule every month as needed.
Okay.
But I think that makes sense.
Well, my input would be that you pick one that works for everybody, 1 day a month. And if there's something to meet for, then have the meeting. But if there's nothing on the agenda, then there's really no reason to have the meeting. But I think it's important to have at least a monthly. But again, I'm new to this group and
It's okay.
haven't been keeping up with the agenda, and I don't know how light it is. But this group, I think, is a very important aspect of the town government. I'm gonna venture, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that being involved in AgCom since it was incepted in 2013, we still don't have any support whatsoever from the town. It's all volunteers. There's no secretary, there's no administration, nobody claims us. We're not under anybody's wing. So I think it's important that the people that are interested, if they're interested in doing it every month, that happen. And I think that if the people are interested enough and that there's enough input from the important sources, that there will be things to talk about. And the summer months are hard on all boards. The select board, planning board, AgCom, Concom, everybody has difficulties during the summer, and it's not uncommon. But again, this is my first meeting and I don't want to jump in unaware.
No, it's fine. I asked for your opinion.
Well, that's my opinion.
Okay.
Thank
So what this committee had decided upon was we were shooting for the second Thursday, which would get away from the Ag Committee issue. We were originally shooting for the second Thursday of every month, and I'll be honest, it was me that moved the October meeting from, with the assent of the rest of the committee members, from October 13th, which would be the second Thursday, to the 20th, because I had a conflict on the 13th. If we followed with that, we're set for the 20th, which is a conflict for you, Matthew, in October. But it's been posted, and we can revisit that right now if you'd like. November, the second Thursday would be November 10th. And I'm happy to turn over the chairmanship of that meeting to somebody else if because I cannot be there on the 10th, but if everybody else can, I'm happy to turn over the chairmanship on November 10th to someone else.
So I'm relatively new to the board as well, and I think some of that conversation may have taken place before my arrival. I have standing conflicts on the first Thursday, the second Thursday, and the fourth Thursday of every
Okay.
month.
So it's sounding like Thursdays don't work.
It leaves limited options for me anyway.
Are there nights of the week, other than Friday? No one wants to meet a board on Friday. Are there nights of the week that work better for anyone? Or really bad? When, for example, when does planning board meet, Matthew?
I'm planning and Lunenburg building, municipal building, whatever. And so all my Mondays are filled up.
Okay,
And I'm looking at potentially getting a new job, so every other Tuesday is gonna be filled up. And then I've got the third Thursday for AgCom, and now I've got open space. Monday and Tuesday is bad for me.
and Thursdays are bad for a number of us, so that leaves Wednesday nights. What do Wednesday nights look like, Anna?
Wednesdays, parks usually meet on Wednesdays. We've been pretty good about sticking with the third Wednesday of the month. This month, we made an exception because we want to meet before the deadline for town warrant, but that has been more of the exception than not. So except with the third Wednesday of the month, I'm usually free.
That's perfect because Conservation Commission is the first and third Wednesday.
Okay,
So that leaves the second and fourth Wednesday
how
potentially
does,
free.
how does the second Wednesday sound for people? Eric?
That would work fine for me. Wednesdays are generally a better day for me.
Okay. So do we want to leave the October meeting now for Thursday, the 20th, or do we want to move it to the 19th? Which would be the third, right? It's the third Wednesday we're talking about?
Right.
No,
The
The
second,
ninth-
the second is the one that's open. The third one's the
second
one that's
Wednesday, so that'd
blocked.
be,
Yeah.
that would be October 12th.
12
Yeah.
or October 26th, yeah. Are they open?
So does October 12th work for people? And then does November 9th work for people?
Yes.
I can do the 12th and the 9th.
Okay,
Both of those are fine for me.
all right. I'll have to get Brandon's input too, because I know he had some conflicts as well, but for now, let's have the minutes reflect that we are moving the October meeting to be on the 12th instead of on the 20th. So we're going to move it up a week and a day. And we're going to set the November meeting for right now for November 9th.
Calendar.
And invariably, I'll have a public hearing somewhere on both of those nights, but that's the way it goes.
Flag.
Because that's what I do for a living, night meetings with public boards.
And when you're not doing it for work, you're volunteering to do them.
I know, just shoot me now. It's like a busman's holiday. So, okay,
Oh, we appreciate.
no, it's great. And Bob has been trying for years, Mary, to get me to help him on conservation because I'm a wetland scientist by background. And I'm like, yeah, no, I do that every day.
Ah,
Yeah, I
you'd
know.
be in your element.
Yeah, well, I'm in my element here with open space. Okay,
Fair
I think
enough.
that's it for tonight's agenda, unless any of the board members have anything else.
I have a question.
Yes.
You're talking about assigning the chairship if you're not here. Do you not have a vice chair and a clerk?
We don't officially. That's a
Well, those are
good
two
point.
people that, so.
We've
I-
had, we've had a high turnover rate.
Right.
Since the spring, Matthew. So we haven't gotten to that point yet, but that's an excellent point.
I would just recommend that you put it on the next agenda. Whether or
Okay.
not it happens, I mean, at the chair, you can push it off however you want, but, so that it's set. Typically, the clerk takes the minutes, right?
Yes, originally we had Paula informally as our clerk. Brandon has been our clerk since Paula left the board. But he was not able to make it tonight. That's why I asked for a volunteer. It's a great point. We've not had a vice chair. We really should have a vice chair that can just take over the meeting. So let's bring that up at the next meeting. Okay, are we good?
Good.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed to hear that Sarah stepped down. I was looking forward to working with her again.
Yeah, both Brandon and I tried to twist her arm several times and she just had too many things going. She had several bouts of COVID and then she had a lot of other stuff going on. So there was just too much going on in her life right now. And I was hoping Paul might rejoin us because she was really a very important part of this committee when I first joined it, but she's apparently also very busy, so can't do it. We'll find somebody. I'd accept the motion to adjourn.
I make a
So
motion to
moved.
adjourn. Oh, there we go. And moved. That was good.
And seconded, there we go. All right, we'll do it this easy way. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you on, I gotta write this down now, the second Wednesday of October.
Right. October
Excellent.
12th.
All right,
Thank
Thank you
thank
all.
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.